Hey, I'm here at KFC in disguise to see if I can avoid the shame of publicly eating a piece of fried chicken between two glazed donuts. Hey, I'm here at Carl's Jr. to try the new BFC, Big Fried Cheeseburger. Hey, I'm here at Taco Bell to try the new Steak Reaper Ranch Fries Burrito. This thing is grotesque. It is like some European guy's parody of the excesses of American fast food. So is it repulsive or is it delicious? Well, it's definitely delicious. It's still a little conceptually repulsive though, so I'm gonna say it's repulsively delicious. That was delicious. I didn't think it was any hotter than Tabasco sauce in general, and nowhere near as hot as Carolina Reaper sauce, but let's find out. My tongue feels like somebody put a cigarette out on it.
You're the king of comfort food.
I'll take it.
And so, I mean, look, these credits with, being the showrunner for The Simpsons is something that I could dive into for hours. I'm a huge fan. And yet for years, you've been now on Instagram reviewing from fast food to comfort food. And like you said, people are sending you treats, regional foods, condiments. Well, let's get to the genesis. How does this when did it begin and how did it begin?
Let me make one thing clear. This doesn't pay anything. Okay.
Oh,
so
Bill,
so
let
it's
me
not.
make one thing clear.
I still have to have a regular
job. This doesn't
job.
pay anything.
Okay, good. Then we're in the same boat. So I think we can sympathize there. This is my hobby, and it basically started. I've always had strong opinions about this food. It probably started because I didn't have any fast food as a kid, because I grew up in I think that the psychological history of
Bill,
this is that.
Why don't you lay back on the couch and we'll go into your history, the withholding from your mother's love of French fries.
People don't realize, people who are under my age, which is extremely old, don't realize that there wasn't nearly so much fast food in this country in the 1970s when I was a kid. There just simply wasn't. There's 20 times more than there was. And so basically, we lived out in the country. The nearest McDonald's was probably 60 miles away in either Washington.
What was the closest city? What state?
Western Maryland. Baltimore was the closest city. It was about an hour away. So in northwestern Maryland. So you'd see McDonald's commercials on TV, and you'd be like, I want to go to McDonald's. It's the most exciting thing in the world. But there wasn't one. So like for your literally for my birthday, my 8th birthday, they drove me into Baltimore to go to McDonald's. So and you get to go once a year maybe. So that is probably why I overcompensate these days, as well as same thing with video games. Like I wanted an Atari so bad and all that stuff. And we never had any of that stuff. And so now I have all that stuff. I have every system pretty much. So I'm overcompensating. And that's probably the genesis of it. In any case, I've had these opinions. I've always loved eating fast food, and I've had these opinions for a very long time. And I basically just sort of changed the format. First, the format was telling them to my family who didn't care. Then the format was putting them on Twitter to some moderate interest. And then I was like, it's much easier just to take a video. And so I took a video, put on Instagram, and the first one I did got a lot of attention for some reason, even though I had like 200 followers. Probably because it was McDonald's and it was a big deal for them to have launched that fresh beef. And McDonald's was like, hey, congratulations on your new career as a food blogger. And I was excited. As well as the head chef for McDonald's also loved it. So even though it wasn't even that positive. So that kind of encouraged me. And then as time went on, I got more and more attention for it and more free stuff. And it just self-perpetuated.
There is no connection to just how you started the reviews in that steamed hams also got very popular 3-ish years ago. There were all the memes for those uninitiated.
Yeah, no, there's not really any connection between that.
Oh,
but
wow.
I felt like I could somehow parlay that into, yeah, right, exactly.
I want to know, can you create the ultimate Thanksgiving fast food spread for us? Now, I want to let people know this is inspired by the fact that I saw you do a review of Popeye's Cajun turkey, which is an off-menu item that you got and ate and said was delicious.
Yes, Popeye's. This is not exactly fast food. It's cooking at home. Popeye's, surprisingly, sells a whole frozen turkey that is spiced with Cajun spices. And you just walk into the restaurant. You can call them and order it, or you can just walk in and they have them in the freezer in the back. And you got to thaw it. It takes at least 2 or 3. So if you're doing this before Thanksgiving, allow 3 or 4 days to thaw it because it takes a long time to thaw. It's pre-cooked, and then you just have to heat it up for 2 hours in the oven.
Oh, it's pre-cooked.
Yes, yes,
Ooh.
it is. And also on the back of the package, there's a recipe for Cajun gravy as well. And so,
Which you made.
yes, the turkey was very good. Like the thing I'd say is I've cooked turkeys for 20 or 30 years, and this would be in the top 10% of the ones I cooked. And the spices there's a distinct Popeye spice blend in almost all of their foods. This turkey has that. It's kind of light inside, and it's a bit heavier on the skin. Like if you can't tolerate spicy, then don't have the skin. But it was delicious, and the gravy was excellent. And with the gravy, I would give it an A or A plus. So like this is like for people who are if this is going to air before Thanksgiving, if you're lazy and you want a really good turkey, this I can't recommend it highly enough.
Okay, Lazy Man's Turkey, Popeyes, right? How much does that cost us?
It starts at $39.99, and I think it's sold by the pound. So that's probably the smallest one.
Now, if we've got our meat. Then we're going to Popeyes for our meat in this ultimate Thanksgiving fast food spread. What are you doing for potatoes?
I like the KFC mashed potatoes. I know people don't like them very much, but I really find them to be really enjoyable. And I realize that they're probably just powdered kind of crud that you would get in the army. That is like powdered mashed potatoes. But I really find personally, that's what would be my choice.
Army crud. You know, Patton Oswalt described KFC mashed potatoes as a starchy graveyard.
He's another one of those people who just like to rag on fast food for no reason. I think it's very trendy to shit on fast food, and John Oliver does it every single week. Every single week, John Oliver on Last Week Tonight is always crapping on fast food, and it's like, yeah, okay, dude. I mean, we get it. You probably haven't tried any of these items you're crapping on, and yes, there are many fast food items that are somewhat sad or pathetic, but there are also many excellent ones. So it gets under my craw. Furthermore,
tell John Oliver, tell him.
It gets under my craw when everybody's like, Donald Trump equals fast food. Okay, Donald Trump does not equal fast food. Okay, he's a stain on the name of fast food enjoyers, because the only reason Donald Trump gets fast food is because he doesn't want to get poisoned. He's had a lifelong fear of being poisoned by people cooking food for him or whatever. So he doesn't so he sends someone out to get the fast food and bring it back to him. And it's usually that security guy that got fired a couple years ago. But the fact of the matter is, Donald Trump is eating fast food that is at least 20 or 30 minutes old. And think about that. Think about how McDonald's burgers taste after 30 minutes, or KFC chicken tastes after 30 minutes. That's what that guy's diet is, okay? That's not a fast food liker's diet. That's a guy who's afraid to get poisoned and is just eating the crappiest things, or only eats at this restaurant. So don't lump every fast food liker in with Donald Trump. It's an insult. Let me say this. The fast food industry has a huge number of problems. It's got a huge number of labor issues. It's got a lot of really bad, and I'll say particularly Wendy's, particularly Taco Bell, have really bad politics, as is In-N-Out Burger. But in general, the food is pretty good, it's fast, and it's cheap. And Americans in general like it. And I feel that crapping on it is a somewhat, in many cases, a somewhat classist issue. You know, and it's like shitting on Walmart and stuff like that. Yes, Walmart's bad too. But it happens, like when I appeared on this NPR show live like this, the host had to explain to people that I wasn't being ironic by liking McDonald's, and this wasn't some sort of put on, and that I was, and because the audience was like,
because you wrote for the Lampoon at Harvard. I mean, in The Simpsons, it's hard not to think, wait, this is a bit, right? But I know
this is not an Andy Kaufman style bit. Yes, and so I take somewhat of an offense at it when people just categorically crap off. Like, tell me that you haven't if you haven't, go to Shake Shack and have a Shack burger. Go to Five Guys. Go to McDonald's and have the Quarter Pounder Deluxe with cheese. Go to Popeyes and have the chicken sandwich. And tell me those aren't delicious. Thank you. You should make sure to play some
don't worry, it was already in my head.
Patriotic music under this.
Oh, it was God Bless America under that in my head, and it just was for everybody.
Okay, good.
Biden's got to make you Secretary of Affordable Foods.